It is March 9th, Wednesday, comic book day, getting off to a bit of a late start, which gives us all the more reason to hurry on to our first book of the day, Batman Superman, issue number 30. Issue number 30. So this seems to be the final chapter of this short little arc here, with Batman and Superman in space with the whole big dead daughter on the moon thing. So we catch up with Batman, who's just escaped from Lobo, and the giant lizard man, and is trying to contact Superman. Superman has just been captured by this old guy. We find out he's not a Kryptonian, but a Daxamite, which is an alien race very similar to Kryptonians, except they are weakened by lead instead of by kryptonite. So, but otherwise, like, pretty much all the same powers as Superman, gets power from the yellow sun, all that same stuff, just slightly different. Superman convinces the Daxamite whose name is Cybar, to side with Superman and try and get revenge on the people who have held him captive for years and years and years. And so then they all basically they do that. They Batman, Superman, and Cybar all kind of take the fight to their captors. We find out that the lizard guy dude is the real big bad behind all this. And then Batman has a plan to get back, defeat Lobo, defeat the lizard guy. And so then we see that plan unfold as Lobo catches up with Batman, brings him back to the lizard guy, and things go down. There's some really good art in this book that I really like. I like all the panels of just kind of Superman flying around space. There's some really good ones. I think the previous page here, where he's quickly recharging, using the giant sun. Just a really, really good book overall, I feel. There's a part where Lobo hangs Batman out of his spaceship. That's just a really good, well-drawn scene. Art in this book is fantastic, really comic booky. And not in like a cheap way, just comic booky and like, this is how superheroes are kind of supposed to look. And otherwise, just really fun book, and it has a really good ending. Just really kind of emotional, sweet ending that I really like seeing Batman and Superman kind of do. Overall, this arc hasn't been amazing. It's been really fun. It's been kind of a very kind of standard example of a Batman-Superman World's Finest team-up story. Nothing completely out of the ordinary, or nothing really swinging for the fences here. But just a really good, fun example of a Batman-Superman story. One that I can see just giving to a new reader and saying, here, this is like a good, just base standard for Batman-Superman. I hope that this writer stays on the book post-Rebirth, or maybe, since I don't think there's a Batman-Superman book, I think they're turning it into a Trinity book, but I hope that DC's managed to keep Tom Taylor. His name is Tom Taylor, right? Where is the title page? Tom Taylor. I hope DC's managed to keep him on the book, because he did a really just good, fun job. And you can't really ask for more without being a bit greedy. So that is Batman Superman. Moving on to Batman and Robin Eternal. Definitely reaching the end here with issue 23. I think this is only supposed to be issue 26 issues long, so definitely reaching the final bit, and it feels like it. We see Mother's plan take hold in the world as all the kids begin to rebel all over the world, or in 12 big cities all over the world. And then we catch up with Harper Rose's little brother Cullen and their roommate Stephanie Brown, spoiler, as they try to find their place in all this. Luckily, Red Robin drops in and we are getting set up for the final assault on Mother. The final, whatever. Everyone's coming in. So we brought Midnighter into the story. We got Batgirl into the story. All the Robins, of course. We find out that Red Hood tells us that Black Canary's involved. We see in a really good spread. Let me get to it. Where is it? Yeah, so here's basically everyone involved. So we got over here, we have Batwoman, Red Robin, Damian, this is Red Hood over here, Damian, Batgirl? No, this is, what's his name? We Are Robin. Duke Thomas. There we go. Batgirl, Katana, who's here, Catwoman, Helena Bertinelli. So everyone is on this final kind of plan. Midnighter is being the Alfred. He's in home base kind of leading everyone. And Grayson goes in alone for the final charge against Mother. So yeah, pretty big stuff. Just lots of characters involved in this one. But some characters do get pretty cool standout moments. The big one, I feel, being Stephanie Brown as Spoiler. Her job is to watch over Scarecrow, and Scarecrow tries to, kind of do that whole Hannibal Lecter thing, make her release him by getting into her head, and she just is not buying it at all. So we see that Stephanie Brown is actually really capable, and that's pretty cool because we haven't seen her do much of anything in this comic yet. So it's cool that they're bringing her in, and they're bringing her in pretty well. Otherwise, the other characters all get pretty cool moments. Dick and Midnighter have quite a rapport going on, and that's pretty cool to see. With Midnighter is basically just flirting with everybody, but from what I understand of the character, that fits really well, and I think it's brings a bit of a humor. Keeps things a little lighthearted, despite everything going on right now, which I think works. Dick Grayson's fantastic. I just love me some Dick Grayson. So yeah, everything about this book, or about this single issue rather, pretty good stuff. Not a lot, it's a setup. A lot of just, I'll move this pawn one space, and this pawn one space, and this pawn one space, and this pawn one space. Not a lot of huge moves yet, but definitely setting up for the big finale. So that is Batman and Robin Eternal. Next up, we have Surviving Megalopolis issue number 3. Very good issue 3, I feel. Bit of a lull, but still lots going on. Lots of cool scenes here. So we catch up with the rescue team as they run into a pack of wolves as they try to get to their target. We find out more about the person they're trying to rescue by the end of this book, and it's a pretty interesting twist. Pretty interesting little ripple in the story there when we find out who they're actually going to rescue. Meanwhile, Ethan and Rainforest? Ethan and Rainwater, who broke off of the strike team in the last issue, finally go splunking into the hole where that turned all the heroes evil, and we're left with a cliffhanger there as they descend. And what I like is that they're flirty about the whole thing. Even in the middle of this war-torn city, they find a way to be flirty about it. Again, a little levity to break up the darkness is always appreciated. Catching up with Cody and Cody and Mina. You find out that Cody has a Batcave of sorts, and manages to win Mina over to be his partner. He initially says sidekick, and of course Mina changes it to partner. So we find out his little Batcave sort of thing going on there. And then we just see all those things kind of play out. Well, we don't see the whole, you don't see the splunking play out. But as the group tries to cross through the wolves, Meredith has a bit of a flashback to her childhood, and you get a bit of backstory about her. She grew up poor on a farm, presumably in the South, and we find out what she thinks about the wolves. And then, of course, they are attacked by a hero. I use the term, hero lightly, of course. But Ribbon ends up popping up and we see how the strike team takes care of Ribbon and the wolves all at once, while Mina and Cody get a little closer, admiring the Cody Cave, I guess we'll call it. Maybe the Crimson Cave. Anyway, that is that. Pretty fun book. I'm still really much enjoying this book. Gail Simone really knows how to tell a story. I still think there's lots of creative stuff in here. So I wouldn't call it a deconstruction of the superhero story, but I think it's a neat twist. With the heroes kind of out of control, and the all these people of different experiences trying to just make their way and survive Megalopolis, just like the title. Yeah, just I'm really enjoying it. I like how Gail Simone knows when to put in humor, because the humor never falls flat. It never feels out of place. It feels very in character for these people, even though we're just kind of getting to know them, which is neat. And yeah, just everything about this book I think really works. I like how all the characters interact with each other, and yeah, that is that. Moving on now to Marvel books, starting with Doctor Strange, and we have hit the low point in the story. Not low point in terms of quality, low point in terms of characters winning. The Empiricool have invaded Earth, or this dimension. They are very quickly draining this dimension of all of its magic, and we are seeing Doctor Strange's last stand in front of the Sanctum Sanctorum as he tries to defend his home and all of Earth's magic from the Empiricool. As he uses every last trick in his book, we also get little scenes from around the dimension as the Empiricool hunt other Marvel magicians and drain the world of its magic. And we really see Strange use every trick in the book, every last thing in order to fight off these guys. He drains every magic resource that he knows of, including the magic of the very earth. He taps the dragon veins of the earth and becomes this huge kind of magic lava golem in order to try and stop the Empiricool. I'm guessing a dragon line is kind of like a ley line, just kind of like a magic blood vessel in the planet itself. And just seeing this kind of last resort tap into the most powerful pools of magic that he can get his hands on is really cool. You really feel things escalate. You really feel just how desperate Stephen Strange is to stop the Empiricool. Yeah, this is like part 2 of this arc. It's, I guess, act 2 of this whole magic invasion thing, now that the Empiricool are finally here. So this is considered chapter 1 of this arc. And we start at a low point, and I'm guessing we're going to see how, from this low point, the characters recover once magic is pretty much drained from the world entirely. And then after the story proper, we get a little back matter where we see clips of other magicians losing their magic throughout the Marvel Universe, including a riff on Harry Potter without magic, and he's just trapped in the closet there. And then a really, really depressing Winnie the Pooh analog at the very end that just broke my heart. This was probably, even though there are a lot bigger things that happen, the stakes get way, way bigger and dramatic. This, I think, is the saddest moment in comic books this week, probably. Just very effective, very moving. And I really can't wait to read the rest of the story. Doctor Strange, we're 6 issues in. I've liked every single issue. And now we're getting, sorry, a bit of hiccups or burping or whatever there. And now we're getting into really dramatic, climaxy, end of the world stuff. So I want to see how this book handles that, because it's been kind of lighthearted. And now we're getting into really kind of, again, deep, climaxy, end of the world stuff. So cool, cool, cool. Moving on to something a lot more lighthearted with Miss Marvel, issue number, what are we, 6? Where's the number? 5. I was covering it with my pinky. Issue number 5. And this is actually incredibly just fun, silly, very light light-hearted Miss Marvel book, which is fun because we're 5 issues away from, Secret Wars and the end of the world. We're just coming out of a little introduction arc, so now Miss Marvel has some room to really just kind of stretch out and have some fun. So last issue we had Bruno create a whole bunch of clones of Miss Marvel, and so now we see the next day Kamala is just doing full-time superheroing, letting her clones take care of the school and family stuff. But of course things go awry because there are way too many clones, and they're not all that bright. They're kind of dumb. So we get to see the clones get in all sorts of trouble, while Camilla just lets things escalate. So clones getting in trouble in school, clones getting in trouble, well, not getting in trouble in this panel, but we see the family's, Kamala's brother wants to get married, so we see the wife's family being introduced for the first time and introducing themselves to Kamala's family, and of course the clone comes in and is not too bright and handles situations poorly. And then this happens, the attack of the clones, so to speak, and the rest of the book is Kamala, kind of the back half of this book is Kamala trying to figure out, oh shit, okay, we gotta take care of these clones, they're getting out of control, and then figure out why cloning herself is a bad idea in the first place, and that the people in her life actually value her, and stuff like that, morals, because it's a comic book, and heroes are supposed to teach us morals, I guess. So yeah, just a big, fun, silly book, not really dramatic, not really serious or anything, but it's comical. It's a comic book. It's a comical comic book. These characters are still really enjoyable. This situation is enjoyable. It's fun just watching clones be dumb and get into wacky situations. So yeah, it's still Miss Marvel. Still fun. Kind of wackier than usual, but that's not a bad thing. I like wacky. Speaking of wacky, our next book is Howard the Duck, issue number 5. Issue number 5, yeah. It's over here right now. The number is always changing location on these Marvel covers. And this is the final chapter of this this Nexus kind of storyline here. As Howard takes the fight directly to the Collector, as he also tries to free all of the everybody who makes up the Collector's collection. So Howard, all Silver Surfer'd up, takes the fight to the Collector. He is joined by the Guardians of the Galaxy, luckily, as backup, and also the Silver Surfer and the Bronze Border, who is called Scout from the rest of the book. So it's a big kind of not everyone for themselves, but just big brawl on the Collector's planet as Howard and his gang of the Surfers and the Guardians all try to rescue the prisoners while the Collector fights back, essentially. And the Collector's very powerful, so even though they have the numbers, they might not have all the advantages. What I like is, by the end of this book, despite having all these really heavy hitters that you see on the cover, Thing, Star-Lord, Drax, Groot, Silver Surfer, and all that, Howard is the one who ends up saving the day. And I'm not going to really say how, but, despite, again, all these heavy hitters, despite everything going on, this book remains focused on Howard and Howard's story, which is fun. And, I'm glad that it didn't just say, okay, let's have Silver Surfer take care of this. Let's, it's not a Deus Ex Machina or whatever, or Duck Ex Machina, because Howard's a duck. Everything in this book ties up the story really well. It's still, of course, comical. You still get a lot of puns and just grumpy Howard and everything. But the book stays close to its heart. It knows where its emotional center is and doesn't forget that. It doesn't, again, get distracted by all these characters. It fits them all in really, really well. It ties up all of those characters' stories individually pretty well as Howard's, and moves us along to the next arc. By the end of this book, it's a really solid, fun, funny book. And one, again, that doesn't sacrifice heart for humor. Manages to find a really good balance of both. And that is that. And the last book this week, last Marvel book, last comic book I am reviewing is Amazing Spider-Man #9, start of a new arc involving the Zodiac Scorpio Rising, it says the arc is called, involving the Zodiac team from the first arc of this most recent Spider-Man reboot. And super fun story. It involves Spider-Man and Nick Fury going into space in order to access the S.H.I.E.L.D. satellites that Zodiac hacked previously. And Dan Slott can't resist throwing in a David Bowie reference just to remind me that David Bowie's no longer with us, and you know, there's that weird bittersweetness of, I mean, you know, he's David Bowie, left us with a lot of good work, glad he is, you know, living, and glad he's getting recognition and all that, but, you know, I miss him. But enough about David Bowie. Has anyone ever said that and really meant it? So we see Scorpio reacting to Spider-Man launching himself into space with Nick Fury, as this was not written in the stars, apparently. Got him by surprise. So we have Spider-Man and Nick Fury then have to fight off all these satellites that are being kamikazed into them as they try to hijack their satellites back in order to find Scorpio. And this book ends with Spider-Man free-falling from space back to Earth in order to stop Scorpio, which is a really fucking exciting ending for a book. Really, just the art in this book again is fantastic, really well done. And yeah, like the last third of this book by page number is just Spider-Man falling back to Earth from space, which is really, really fun. Seeing him kind of become a meteor flying over Paris. And then, again, this is only the first issue of the arc, and it begins with Spider-Man going to space and ends with him falling from space. Really fucking kick-ass way to begin any story arc. I'm glad they did it. Spider-Man's just still one of the top-tier books, one of my favorites. Dan Slott, again, just knows how to write a damn good Spider-Man story. And again, to mention, these Alex Ross covers are, like, I want to frame all of them. They're all just so pretty and great. So yes, that is Amazing Spider-Man issue #9. And that is it for this week's comic book reviews. I hope you enjoyed. I know we kind of rushed through them, but I want to get these done, you know. Oh, I just realized also this teddy bear has been in the shot the entire issue. That's not embarrassing at all. Issue, video, whatever. Anyway, yes. Comic book reviews, I did them this week, and I hope that you enjoyed. If you did, please like this video. If you feel like it, please subscribe. Any comments, questions, book recommendations, anything whatsoever, please leave them in the description. Not in the description. Please leave them down below. I am tired. Please feel free to leave your comments below, and I will try and get to them. What else? I think that's it. Yeah, there's no part 2. Just 7 books this week. So... yes, again, thank you for watching. I hope that you join me next week for some more comic book reviews, and this bear is going to wave goodbye because he misses you and he hopes to see you next week when I review more comic books. And again, thank you for watching. Okay, that's it. That's the end. Goodbye.